Welcome to the Greenhouse for Faith, where what we grow here is meant to be planted out in the midst of the world. This is the cooperative ministry of Rejoice Lutheran Church in Frisco, Texas, and the gathering at the table. I'm Pastor Neil White. I'm the senior pastor at Rejoice Lutheran Church of Frisco. And welcome to our Foundations course. So this course is going to be a little bit like building the greenhouse itself. And so the first thing we have to do is lay the foundation. And that foundation for us is a way of thinking about God and the world and our place within it. But I want to warn you up front, this is going to be very different than what you may encounter in a lot of churches. And I'm going to reflect back on a conversation I had years ago with a member who came up to me and said, "Pastor, your job is to tell me what I need to do to get into heaven." And my response to him is, no, God's already taken care of that. My job is to help you learn how to be grateful for what God has already done. What we're going to talk about is different because we're going to focus in on what God does and what God has already done. Let God be God could be a 4-word summary of this way of thinking. God is the foundation. God is the renewer, the rescuer, but also the creator of everything that we engage with. And God loves this world. God is active, passionate, and engaged in this world. And I know that you can look around and say, well, but I don't see God active all the time. And I understand, and that's true. And, one of the things we'll deal with in this is we'll deal with things that are pillars or foundations or things that don't move, but then you'll also deal with the tensions around that. And so while God is active and passionate and engaged and involved in the world, we also know that God works in ways that are often mysterious, hidden. And, just as when Elijah went up on the mountain to try and encounter God and, there's the windstorm and the earthquake and the fire, and God's not in any of those, but God's in the still small voice. We too often have to be in that space where we can listen and be quiet and peaceful to see the places where God is working. And sometimes we still may not see, we still may not understand. But we live a life that is a life of grace and gratitude in response to all God has done. And so the next 4 sessions, we're going to talk about the ways in which we come to know this God. And then we're going to talk about one final session about then how do we live in response to it. So welcome. Welcome to the Greenhouse of Faith as we continue to build this together so that it can be carried out into the world that God loves. I'll see you next session.